Trinkets? What the heck is a trinket? What do they even do? In this video, I'm going to be going over all the trinkets and explaining exactly what each one does. That way you guys can apply it to your different game styles and you can dominate the battlefield. So here we go, man. Let's jump right in. Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy CaptainJackAttack. Welcome back to another Super Strike League video. Today's going to be a tutorial video on powers and trinkets. So obviously, most of you players out there probably in the channel know about these trinkets and know about, all the gears and stuff like that. But chances are, a lot of people who are new to the game, they don't really know what trinkets are even are. Like, what the heck do you do with the item augmenter? Like, what the heck is a Trinkey Extraction Kit? Like, even I don't even use these sometimes, because I'm still new to them. But today we're going to learn exactly what each trinket does, and we're going to learn more about how they can improve your game as well. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you smack that like. Don't forget to also subscribe as well. We're going to be doing a lot more Super Strike League content. So basically, first we'll go through the basics. So first things first, you got powers. So basically you have power, speed, and also defense. So you see these three little logos right here. So you go to show details on your stats, right, on your part. Show details. You're going to see this little lightning logo right here. You're going to see a little a boot logo, like a foot logo. And you're going to have a shield logo as well. So this stands for power, stamina, and defense. And they actually have some pretty important mechanics that goes to play here. So basically what power does is it helps increase the power of your shooting and your passing as well here. So basically I'm wearing my speed gear right now. So I got like less than 10 power combined. So you can tell like it's kind of hard for me to shoot in front of the goal because I don't got much power to my shot. Hence because of the speed gear. So basically, the more power you have, the faster the ball is going to be shooting towards the goal. The only problem with having too much power, though, if you have too much power, you're not going to be able to curve as much as you can. Like, you're not going to be able to curve as hard as compared if you don't have enough power. So try to keep a nice and even balance. Obviously, if you get more power, though, you're going to be able to score a lot more right past the goalie. Like, it's going to go by the goalie a lot more faster, giving them less time in order to react to your shot. So but you don't also want to have too much power as well, because you want to be able to have that nice little curve to your shot as well. So keep it with a grain of salt. I usually tend to not even have any power at all, because obviously I can just like do a little pass goal, like kind of like that. There we go. See, I usually just stick to like my pass shots like that, so I don't really need too much power. But for you other guys, having a lot of power definitely helps out a lot. Next, we also got speed. So speed basically helps improve your player movement right here. So you can see I can, I'm pretty speedy right here. I got my speed gear ready to go. You can see how fast that we can actually go from one end of the field to the other right here, which is really cool. So having a lot of speed definitely helps. I've always been a big fan of speed, especially because I can try to do like some pretty cool stuff. Like obviously I can do my pass goals. Like I tried doing that again. Missed it. Nope. Obviously having a lot of speed helps a lot, because you can just like pass the ball right into the goal like that. You're really speedy. You can go right past the goal. You don't need power to your shot if you got a lot of speed as well. Now, another thing to know, if you have one stat that's higher than the other, so like obviously my speed's like 300 almost, and then my power's like 10, you're obviously going to be sacrificing another stat with speed or whatnot here, but it's up to personal preference obviously, depending on your playing style as well. And then lastly, we got defense as well. Basically, what defense does is you're going to be able to use up less stamina when you're deking or if you're tackling against other people. So, like, I'm deking right now. I don't got the best defense stats, in my opinion. But having a lot of defense definitely helps, especially if you try to tackle people left and right. And when you hit somebody with a tackle, you're going to knock them down for a longer period of time as well. So having a good amount of defense is definitely helpful as well. So yeah, it's pretty easy, right? Power, stamina, and defense. Those are your main three stats for any parts in the game here. Now we're going to go into trinkets, and trinkets have their own little system in here, and it's probably going to take up the bulk of the video as well. So basically what you can do with trinkets, you cannot apply them to your level 1 parts unless you unlock a trinket slot, which you need a trinket slot unlocker to do so. Any uncommon gear or higher comes standard with a trinket slot. So basically what you can do with this empty trinket slots is basically you can add more stats to that part. So you know how I have 6 power, 4 stamina, and 1 defense for the spiked helmet. So if I want to be able to add a little bit extra stats to it, you can equip these trinkets, and they add a little bit of stats, but they also add additional abilities to your parts as well here. So, and they also come in 3 different levels. They come in a bronze trinket, they come in a silver trinket, and they also come in as a gold trinket as well. So 3 different levels for each trinkets. And obviously you guys can see how the gold level trinkets give you a lot more stamina and power and stuff like that compared to let's say a bronze trinket. Like, it only gives you just one for just one stat. So obviously gold trinkets are the best trinkets to use, and then the bronze trinkets are usually the worst trinkets you can use. But not every trinket gives you power. Keep in mind, not every trinket gives you extra powers for your gear. So first we got the fast stamina regen, and basically what this does is, you know, obviously stamina regenerates a lot more quickly. And this is very good to have, especially if you're aiming for a speed gear set like I have right now. Basically, your stamina is going to be regenerating a lot more quickly, so that means you can do more spins, more dekes, more tackles. It's useful for defense and offense, so definitely a good one right there. Try to get gold if possible. Gold is really, really good for the fast stamina regeneration right there. Next up, we got the sprint speed up trinket. I only got a bronze one right here, but it's another useful item, especially for speed. Basically, it provides a small boost to an item's ability, so it makes your sprint faster. It's basically exactly what it says. It makes your sprint faster. It's useful for defense and offense as well, especially if you try to get back on defense. You can always use a faster sprint. Try to catch up to the guy in order to get back on defense. Definitely useful for defense. Obviously very useful for offense as well, especially if you try to get a breakaway goal or trying to get away from the pack so you can get a nice and easy goal on the goalie. So useful for both situations. Another good one for speed gear as well here. Next, we also got another one of my favorites, the sprint stamina saver. And this one is really good. It reduces the amount of stamina that's used by sprinting, so that means you can have longer sprinting. Useful again for defense and offense. Try to get back on defense, trying to get an opening goal on offense. Very, very useful for a speed gear setup again. Next, we got a shot damage boost. This one's very good, especially for offense. Not very useful for defense, because obviously it doesn't have any qualifications for defense, obviously. But for offense, really good. It increases the damage dealt by regular shots, so it means more HP towards a goalie. So if you got like a couple of gold trinkets for the shot damage boost, I can see you knocking that goalie's health down like at least half off of one good fully charged shot, which is really good. That means it's going to be a lot more easier for your teammates to score goals, especially with the goalie HP is really low. It's very good for a team. You know, it's more of a team trinket more than anything else. Or it's also good for you too if you can get the ball again and shoot it right past the goalie. So another good one, mainly power driven, 100% offense for that trinket. Next up, we got the power up damage booster right here. Another bronze trinket. I know I got so many trinkets. I don't even use half of them, but it's always good to use these trinkets whenever you can. But basically what this one does is increased effectiveness of all power-ups. So basically what this trinket does is, I know increased effectiveness of power-ups is a little bit vague, so I'm going to be explaining it. Basically it means it's going to be powering up your power-ups towards goalies and even players as well. So players are going to be hit for longer, they're going to be knocked down for a longer period of time. It's not going to be like extraordinary longer, but it's going to help a little bit, maybe like an extra second or something like that, or maybe less. And it's going to cause more HP damage to the goalie as well. So these trinkets are pretty helpful. They're pretty good for defense and offense equally alike. But I would say they're more useful for defense, so you can knock those players down, especially for longer, especially when you're trying to get the ball and stuff like that. So they're pretty good for defense, and they're really good for offense as well. Next up, we got the heavy hitter trinket as well. Heavy hitter trinket's also good as well. It's going to stun players for a lot longer while you hit them, which is really good for defense. Not much for offense, but mainly for defense, because you can, that way those players are not going to be able to play in the game as long. You know, obviously, the longer the player is on the ground, they're not going to be able to like go after the ball or anything, so it's pretty much like a 4-on-3 for a couple of seconds at that point. So it's very good to have a couple of these trinkets as well, and be pretty much knock them out, man. Knock them out! Next up, we got the Curveball Boost. Basically what this does is it increases the possible curve when shooting a ball. I always have this trinket on 100% of the time on my gear. gotta be on the boots, or it could be on any of the gear really, but make sure you have this in your set, especially gold as well, because obviously these curve shots are very important. Goes right past the goalie. Your defenders are gonna have a harder of a time trying to block those curve shots as well. Like, all about curves, man, all about curves. This is a really good trinket to have. 100% offense as well, no defense. So I would definitely recommend having one of these trinkets as well, especially for offense. Next, we also got the Rebound Speed Boost. I also got another gold trinket on this one as well on my boots. It's basically a speed boost after taking a shot on the goal. Very useful, especially if you're trying to get that goalie HP down. You want to try to get a quick little rebound so you can try to get a follow-up shot for a goal, or maybe even like knocking the goalie down, even once again for another teammate or something. It's a useful one. I wouldn't say it's 100% like useful for, for offense, but it's definitely a good trinket to have if you don't have any other good trinkets available. Next up, we also got the Steel Speed Boost, another gold trinket I have. It's on the epic gear. I'm gonna try and safely remove it. Very good trinket to have. I think it's one of the best trinkets in my opinion, honestly, because you're gonna increase speed boost when you're stealing the ball. Like, if you can steal the ball and have really good speed out of stealing the ball and get away from the pack and head towards the opponent goalie, that's pretty much a breakaway goal, like almost every time, unless somebody's like playing really good defense in their zone all the way back near their own goalie. A really good trinket to have. I have it on my main gear as well. It's very useful, honestly, especially for defense, and it can also translate to offense as well, especially like I said, if you get away from the pack, away from their defensive players on the other team, you're gonna be able to get a really good shot on the goal. So really good trinket once again in my opinion. Next one, we got the super duration up. This one is more geared towards goal busters more than anything, especially with the whole goal busters mode being very reliant on super. This one basically increases your super duration. It can be useful for the regular game as well, but since super, you're only using super a couple times a game and they're not very long as well, it's not very a useful item in my opinion. So I would probably stay away from this trinket, but if you're really good and if you play a lot on goal busters, this would be a really good trinket to have, especially for a goal buster setup. Right next to that one, we got the Skillshot Power Boost. Basically what the Skillshot Power Boost does is it increases your power and deals damage by skill shot. So skill shot is a fully charged shot. You're going to be doing a lot more damage. It's going to be doing a lot more power to your ball as well, to your shot. So the ball's going to go a lot more faster after a fully charged shot than if it wasn't a fully charged shot. And it's pretty good. I don't use this one because I rarely skill shot. Skill shot's more usually useful for lower levels, lower level play. But as you get higher up in the levels, you're not going to be relying on skill shots as much. But another good trinket to have, especially if you're a low level. Now, this is one of the only trinkets I don't have, but we're going to be talking about the Super Striker Power Boost. So the Super Strike Power Boost increases your power and your power shot off of Super Strikes. Again, not really a good trinket to have in my personal opinion, because regardless of how much power you have on your Super Strike, you're going to be scoring a goal as long as you're not an enemy player behind their goalie trying to block your shot. Wouldn't really use that trinket in my opinion. I would probably stay away from that trinket as well. And another thing to keep in mind, in higher level play, people know to block those super strikes, especially from long distances. So not very useful in my opinion. I would probably stay away from those kind of trinkets, even in the low levels too, because once again, they always go through the goal and they always score a goal. Next up, we got one of my favorites as well, the Stamina Penalty Down. So basically what this one does is decrease penalty for repeatedly using defensive moves. Really good for defense, especially with this trinket. I got a gold one, so I'm really fortunate to have one of these. But yeah, you can be basically tackling left and right, like tackle one time, and then right after that tackle a second time, tackle a third time, tackle a fourth time. And you're going to be using less and less stamina the more you use it, which is really good, especially if you miss your first tackle, you got to do a second tackle. You miss your second tackle? Alright, I got a stamina penalty down, I'll do my third tackle and get him on the third tackle, go the opposite way, shoot and score. Very useful trinket. I'd rather, I'd at least have one of these gold trinkets in your set if you can, or at least a silver. They're very good trinket to have, especially for defense. Yeah, another trinket that I do not have, but I wish I did, is the Fast Pass Charging. Really good trinket, both for defense and offense. Try to charge up your pass as quickly as possible before you're able to get tackled. it's a really good trinket in my opinion, because especially for me personally, I use a speed gear set, so I heavily rely on passes. Even when I'm scoring goals, I rely on passes. I rely on passes right before I get tackled, on defense, getting the ball out of our zone into their zone. So another good trinket to have. Unfortunately, I don't even have one of them, so I'm gonna try and get myself a good fast pass charging trinket as well, but it's a good trinket to have for sure. Lastly, we got super stun reduction. I have this one on a couple of gears and it's okay. Decrease stun time while super is active. Once again, you don't use super for like most of the game, so it's not a very useful trinket to have most of the time. But especially when you get your super ready to go and then you get tackled right when the game's about to end, and then you get up really quick and you get tackled right back and then you score. For those situations, it's really good, but then again, you don't get those many situations. So I would probably stay away from this one as well, but it's up to you personally. And those are all of the trinkets that you can get in Super Strike League. We've explained how most of them, what most of them do in the game and how they can change your game. A lot of them are really good, but it all depends on you guys. Honestly, if you're more of a power type of player, then I would gear towards those power trinkets. If you guys are more about speed like I am, you would probably gear towards speed trinkets more than anything. Obviously, I don't really got too many good speed trinkets or anything like that because I'm still working on them. But, it's all a work in progress. Make sure you guys have fun. Go get those trinkets and definitely make sure you use them. So this is when these trinkets come to play here. So you know how sometimes you get some of these gear. So I got the Class Act Epic Gear boots right here, right? I got two trinkets. I got a stamina penalty down, and I also got a steel speed boost trinket right here. Well, two ways to remove them actually. You can either destroy them for no cost, or you can get one of these things, and these things are very, very important. You can get one of these Trinket Extraction Kits. So basically what you can do with a Trinket Extraction Kit is you safely remove a trinket from an item without you not being able to use it again in the future. So it's a good way to save your trinkets, especially if you got really, really good high level gold tier trinkets and you want to be able to use again. So let's say I want to try and save this super stun reduction. Obviously I'm not going to do that because who would want that? But let's say we're trying to save this steel speed boost trinket, right? I'm going to do safely remove. It's going to say I'm going to use one of my Trinket Extraction Kits to safely remove. So I have 3 in my inventory. I would say okay. And there we go. I'll have it in my inventory. And there it is right there. Steel speed boost right there. And it's a gold trinket as well, so we're able to safely remove that gold trinket, and I can use it for another item as well. You can get these Trinket Extraction Kits from the shop, from the boosters. It costs a couple of Pro Bucks in order to get them. Pro Bucks you can get with Robux, or you can sometimes get them for free. Like I accumulated mine for free, which is really nice. So you go to boosters, and then you go to your Trinket Extraction Kits. And I think they're very useful to have, especially because sometimes if you open up a really good epic gear in some of the crates, sometimes you get some really good gold level trinkets from them. So it's very useful to have. You can also go to the shop, guys, go to crates, and over here in supply crates, you can get some really cool trinkets as well. You get some special trinkets and other items that you can use to upgrade your equipment. Sometimes you get a legendary. I don't think you can actually. I think the highest is gold trinkets. I've never seen a legendary trinket before. I think that's more for like other parts, but yeah, you can get other trinkets as well in the supply crates as well. So hopefully this video has been very helpful for you guys. I mean, it's probably a long video, I know, but hopefully it explains all your questions and answers about trinkets and stuff like that. So if you guys found it very helpful, make sure you smack the like on the video. Don't forget to also subscribe as well. More Super Strike League content coming out on the channel, guys. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.